Unless we build it now. It's the future, y'all. It's the future. There ain't no future unless we build it now. United States, Africa, we salute ya. A new state of mind, I introduce ya. Close your eyes and visualize the rise of a new paradigm. Solar powered skyscrapers.
Welcome to the Africa Must Unite podcast, a podcast dedicated to inspiring African people worldwide to rise up, organize, and struggle for Pan-Africanism, a unified, liberated, socialist Africa, the only permanent solution to the exploitation and oppression of African people, no matter what. Now please, welcome the hosts of Africa Must Unite.
Africa's future is now, so get ready.
Africans, this is Brother Terrence. This is Brother Melvin. And we are the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party.
And welcome to the 95th broadcast of Africa Must Unite.
95. Man, that's a big one. We're almost there, man. We're almost at the century mark. So this is a blessing to be here for our 95th podcast, man. So we got to celebrate that.
Yes. So like we do at this time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go into some of these calendar dates for the month of November, and we'll keep it brief. For the month of November, beginning on November 2nd, we recognize Assata Shakur, political prisoner, escaped U.S. prison after serving over 6 years of her life sentence in 1979. So we'll be recognizing Sister Assata Shakur a little later on today, but we want to recognize that date as well. On November 11th, we have Shirley Graham Du Bois, Pan-Africanist and wife of W.E.B. Du Bois, who was born in 1896 on November 11th. Also, on November 11th, we recognize that's the day that Nat Turner, our African freedom fighter, he was hanged in 1831 after that rebellion. Also, on November 15th, very interesting day because in 1884, it was the start of the Berlin Conference, where imperialist European countries and the U.S., which was a most interested observer, began the Berlin Conference, and that's when Europeans decided to carve up Mother Africa for those colonial powers. November 25th, we recognize the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party. Our party was founded in Washington, D.C. in 1983. Also, on November 25th, Fidel Castro, revolutionary and first president of Socialist Cuba, passed away in 2016. And lastly, on November 26th, we have the death of Sojourner Truth, African freedom fighter and women's rights advocate, and that was in 1883. So there's a number of incredible dates that are recognized that we have on our calendar. So hopefully we'll talk about our calendar a little later so that people can think about purchasing a calendar for themselves so they can see for themselves all these incredible days that we recognize that impacts Mother Africa and certainly Africa's children, us.
All right. Not only for people to pick up the calendar for the dates, but also pick it up for the information.
Absolutely.
This month's theme here, positive revolutionary motions throughout the world, and we are highlighting the belly of the beast here, in particular North America, and in particular the U.S.
Yes.
This month's calendar piece reads like this. In North America, the U.S. is the leader of the global capitalist exploitation and oppression. Despite the fact that the positive revolutionary motions that come out of the U.S., the belly of the beast, serve as an inspiration for all who struggle against fascism, imperialism, despite the U.S. efforts to villainize them. In the U.S. in the U.S., free speech in general and Pan-African thought in particular is under attack. For example, the Uhuru Three, which was Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and the African People's Socialist Party, Penny Hess, who was the chairman of African People's Solidarity Network, and Jesse Neville, who was the chair of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, were all acquitted of failing to register under a Foreign Agents Registration Act as agents of Russia, but were found guilty of conspiracy. But these organizations focus on helping our people in many ways. For example, the APSP contributes to the people by organizing African working class against imperialism, neocolonialism, and police brutality, as well as building houses and producing the newspaper, The Burning Spear. Despite the positive contributions, African Stream, a Pan-African website and social media forum, have been deplatformed on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, demonetized and called by the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, at that time, the voice of Kremlin propaganda. These attempted crackdowns only serve as inspiration and motivation to militants in the U.S. to push the positive. Yet, in spite of these crackdowns, social media forums like Africa Must Unite podcast, which you're listening to, Breakthrough News, Black Agenda Report, the Nkrumah's Review, Black Liberation Media, Black Power Media, and Hood Communists are not intimidated. They continue to highlight and broadcast the struggles and victories of African people in the U.S. and abroad. And organizations like ours, the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party, as well as the Black Alliance for Peace, the Pan-African Community Action, and the All-African People's Revolutionary Party, to name a few, continue to organize on behalf of the masses to bring forth a more just world, a unified socialist Africa, and worldwide socialism leading to worldwide communism. I just want people to know, again, these pieces are written in advance, so Anthony Blinken is nowhere near the secretary, and what happened with the Uhuru 3 was definitely last year.
No, those are good points, but it's still, the point still, remains the same. How, the voice, anything that centers African in the struggle for true liberation is under attack by the media, by capitalist controlled media, imperialist controlled media, obviously, because our messages run diametrically opposed to what their messages are. And so we understand that, which for us means that we have to intensify our struggle for Pan-African revolutionary true liberation and a unified socialist Africa. But T, since we're talking about the epicenter of this treachery, since we're talking about the belly of the beast, as you mentioned, here in the U.S., this imperialist, capitalist, fascist, global beast, and in the words of Marvin Gaye, tell the people what's going on.
Yes, so right now, as we speak here in November, in no particular order, free speech has all but disappeared. Anyone with a platform of some sort who spoke the truth about the racist Charlie Kirk was suspended, fired, forced to apologize, and or not make connection to his propaganda being exactly as the capitalist leaders of the country. You have ICE agents maxed up like KKK with full immunity, running into Latino, Hispanic, African, and other poor working class communities, kidnapping any and all who may look like they're not from here. And when the government had us in a power control gridlock on what people call a shutdown, roughly 40 million working class people were and still quite possibly can lose their benefits, which assist them in acquiring the basic needs for their families. What else is happening now?
Things good looking. Good point, man. I know even for our own families, we had to make sure that everybody received the support, the sustenance, the food, and basic supplies, man. Dealing with this capitalist structure here, man. So I know shout out to everybody. I hope that everybody is making it through this. There are certainly organizations that have stepped up and helped to assist people, and we want to shout and recognize everybody who's had some hands in supporting all of our people. But
Right.
I just want to kind of shift and talk about education a little bit, and it continues to be under attack as well. As we already know, T, there have been this book ban that we've seen across the country. Um, and even books that people call classics shows up on the ban list throughout the United States. Any of our classic autobiographies, the Malcolm autobiography of Malcolm X, the narratives, Frederick Douglass, all of these classic books that we were reading are all on the ban list or whatever. And what the government is continuing to push is this idea of retelling stories, right? So based on a far more conservative, racist, violent history, and that's where that whole PragerU thing come from. I know people may have heard of some of those videos that are now starting to gain traction in certain public school spaces, where they're offering a sort of revisionist history, whereby it sort of centers the Europeans' point of view, the capitalist point of view, and just completely rewriting the experiences of African people throughout this country. And so that continues to be a serious issue in terms of education being under attack under this administration and other, previous administration even. But we have to continue to work hard to make sure that we're doing what we can. And that's why I know we'll probably talk about a little later, T, the importance of having like a children's freedom school, Watoto Uhuru Shule, our children's freedom school, where we provide our own children with educational understanding experiences around history that impacts them. That is true U.S. history, right? Because our history is connected. It is U.S. history. And like so many people say, we built this country on our backs. This country was built on our backs. And it's important that our kids know that real history of this country.
Yeah. Those banned books, man, and the classics like Their Eyes Were Watching God,
Yep.
Beloved.
Yeah, Toni Morrison's all over that list, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the classics that we grew up on in high school and college are on those banned book lists. But I will say, sadly, but not surprisingly, Pan Africanism is also under attack. And it's coming from brainwashed, miseducated Africans in particular. Groups like the Foundational Black Americans, FBA, and also the American Descendants of Slavery, better known as ADOS. These people stand for nothing. They are culture hustlers and enemies and agents of the people. In the same vein as the neo-colonial puppets at home, selling their people in order to empower and or enrich themselves. Malcolm X had stated Africans in the U.S. are impacted by domestic colonialism. And these traders are domestic colonial puppets.
Yeah. And, we can't forget, while all these weapons of mass distraction are happening, the rich are still getting richer, T. The poor are getting poorer in this country, and that's a mantra we've been knowing for a long time. But it's so clear now. It is so clear the wealth gap, not only in this country, but certainly since we're talking about the epicenter of hegemony, power and hegemony is here in the United States. And here's a couple examples. Check this out. Since 2012, Elon Musk, his wealth went from $2 billion in 2012 to now $486 billion. I read somewhere that Elon Musk stands to become the world's first
Right.
trillionaire. That's just crazy. When you talk about like one person who has more wealth than the gross national product of like 60 countries combined, that's ridiculous, insane wealth. And like there's absolutely nothing he can do with that money. But that the type of money that he had would be enough to ensure that there are no homeless people specifically in this country if we were talking about that. But how one person can maintain all is sick in my opinion. But let's also look at in '09, Larry Ellison had a wealth of 23 billion to now worth over 370 billion. Mark Zuckerberg in 2008 had a net worth of 1.5 billion. Now he's at $245 billion. Jeff Bezos, 1998, 1.6 billion. And today, after a major divorce, he's still at over $233 billion. And guess what else? Here we go. The minimum wage in 2009 was $7.25. And that was $7.25 an hour. That was in 2009. Now, in 2025, it's still $7.25 an hour. This is obscene. The current living conditions have the people anxiety and trauma and anger up, which is insane. We know that the cost of bread did not remain the same from 2009 to 2025. Our rent prices have gone up, right? All of our basic needs and the resources that we need, gas and all of this stuff, all of that stuff continues to go up. But wealth has not kept, not wealth, but like wages have not kept up with that. While the rich continues to get richer, right? And the poor gets poorer. And that's why they use these distractions, T. And I know we're going off on a tangent somewhat, but that's why we get so distracted about the Epstein files and stuff like this that I understand how some people can get stuck in that, but it's a distraction. It's a distraction. People are still starving. There's homelessness that's still going on. And on top of this, they had the audacity to attack education. It's just a sickness, and it's all planned, and we understand that.
Right. And no secret that, again, they're gearing up to go into Venezuela and try to remove Maduro. All
Right.
while, the Epstein files is the primary point of emphasis for most of the mass media. But, all the things you were saying, we kids say it's facts. Some of you
Right.
say no cap.
Right.
But this is where we want to switch gears, though, and highlight some positive motion, because that is the theme of this month, the positive motion that is happening to counterattack this madness. And all of those organizations that we mentioned in the calendar piece continue to organize the masses in their work. Each group may have a particular focus of action that guides their theory, but one organization I want to talk more about, that we want to talk more about, is the current work of the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party.
Yeah, that's us, T.
Yep.
That's us, the PRSP. We in the party. We understand our history and the struggle for Pan-Africanism. That's the permanent solution, the true solution, for African people worldwide. But we've had militants learn under Osagyefo, Kwame Nkrumah as a part of the Young Pioneers movement. We've had militants organize with Kwame Ture since their days at Howard to the formation of All African People's Revolutionary Party, and we ourselves have been in the party. Not particularly, but here in Milwaukee, the party's been functioning since 1984. And though we're very small, we continue to struggle and fight for our people every day. What are some things that you can highlight that we're still doing now?
Sure can. We understand how vital political education is to creating a Pan-African Union of socialist states. Therefore, our emphasis is in educating the masses to mobilize and organize. In no particular order, we have our weekend school, which we call Watoto Uhuru Shule. That's been going on 38 years and going, and we'll have it tomorrow. Speaking, though we discontinued our annual Garvey Fest, That program had lasted over 30 years. Our youth conference, the Nia Pansy, has been going on, I believe, since 2000. And we also host the Nkrumah's Conference as well as the Democratic Republic of Congo annual teach-ins. What you all listening to right now, Africa Must Unite, is about to wrap up its 8th year in existence. Our annual theme calendars is heading into its 42nd year of publication. 2026, next year, our theme is socialism, an imperative for a liberated, unified Africa, and for the liberation of all global Africans. And lastly, definitely not least, is our return to the Nkrumah's Review, which is an online publication grounded in our ideology of Nkrumahism.
Yeah. In sum, we continue to build Pan-African revolutionary socialist organizations to achieve Pan-Africanism by politically educating the masses of our people. So when we say a unified socialist Africa is not only possible, but it is coming, it's because we and others are putting in the work extended to us by our ancestors. So the struggle continues. We always say we have to intensify the struggle as things continue to, the contradictions are highlighted around us. So we know that we have to intensify the struggle and meet the capitalist imperialists with the same type of energy and fervor required to defeat it. So that requires us, to stay on our 10 toes, on our P's and Q's, like they used to say back in the days. But that requires us to also be engaged in organization, right? To be engaged in political education. So that we understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, how we're doing it. So we're talking about strategies, tactics, and everything that we need to ferment true revolutionary action, T. So we continue. We ask that anybody listening, if you're not a part of an organization, to consider joining a Pan-African a revolutionary organization, wherever you are, wherever you're under the sound of our voices, wherever you may be. There are these organizations out there. Certainly, we'll give you some information about how you can be in contact with us. But one thing's for sure is, as we are in 2025 heading into 2026, we need to move forward in our struggle. The rich are getting richer, like we said. We're under attack in every facet of human relations, economics, education, whatever. We're under attack, and we need to meet fire with fire. But we also have to be organized when we're doing this. All right? Does that make sense?
Definitely. Well said there. We just also want to remind people all throughout 2025, and we only got one more month left here, but also at the time of invited guests, people out there who think along our lines here. Our focus this year, our focus for next month, again, is this theme of this calendar, a unified socialist Africa, not only possible, but coming.
So join us next month for the final installment of this year's calendar in December. We'll be discussing the Unified Socialist Africa's contribution to worldwide socialism.
Meanwhile, visit our website, Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party.org. That's all one word, Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party.org. Email us at panafricanrsp@gmail.com. Like us on SoundCloud. Visit us on YouTube.
And remember, organization is the key. Join us, the Pan-African Revolutionary Socialist Party, or some other revolutionary Pan-African Socialist organization. A union of African socialist states is on the horizon.
Lastly here, in remembrance and acknowledgement of her contribution to our people's struggle for liberation, and in the same month she was liberated from those human cages, as Brother Melvin mentioned earlier, here in the United States, we say Asante Sana, Uhuru, and Ashe to our revolutionary warrior, Assata Shakur, who joined the ancestors on September 25th with this beautifully written and powerful track by Common titled Assata.
in the spirit of God, in the spirit of the ancestors, in the spirit of the Black Panthers, in the spirit of Assata Shakur. We make this movement towards freedom for all those who have been oppressed and all those in the struggle. Yeah, check it. There were lights and sirens, gunshots flying. Cover your eyes as I describe a scene so violent, seemed like a bad dream. She laid in the blood puddle, blood bubbled in her chest. Cold air brushed against open flesh, no room to rest. Pain consumed each breath, shot twice with her hands up. Police questioned, but shot before she answered. One Panther lost his life, the other ran for his. Scandalous the police were, as they kicked and beat her. Comprehension, she was beyond, trying to hold on to life. She thought she lived with no arm, that's what it felt like. Got to the hospital, eyes held tight. They moved the room to room, she could tell by the light. Handcuffed tight to the bed, through her skin they bit. With guns to her head, every word she got hit. Who shot the trooper, they asked her. Put the mace in her eyes, threatened to blast her. Her mind raced, still things got still. Opened her eyes, realized she's next to her best friend who got killed. She got chills as they told her that's what she would be next. Hurt mixed with anger, survival was the reflex. They lied and denied visits from a lawyer, but she was building as they tried to destroy her. If it wasn't for this German nurse, they would have served the worst. I read the sister's story, knew that it deserved a verse. I wonder what would happen if that would have been me. All of this just so we could be free, so dig it, y'all. Awakened her, walkie-talkies crackling, not saying where they taking her. Though she kinda knew what made the ride peaceful was the trees and the sky was blue. Arrived to Middlesex prison about 6 in the morning. Uneasy as they pushed her to the second floor in a cell, one cot, no window facing hell. Put in the basement of a prison with all males in the smell of misery, sealess toilets and centipedes. She exercised paint and began to read. 2 years in the hole, her soul grew weak. Away from people so long she forgot how to speak. She discovered freedom is an unspoken sound, and a wall is a wall and can be broken down. Found peace in the Panthers, she went on trial with one of the brothers. She had a child with the violence, they would defeat her, hoping she'd lose her seed. Held tight, knowing the fight would live through the sea. In need of a doctor, from her stomach she'd bleed. Out of this situation, a girl was deceived. Separated from her, left to mother the revolution. And lactate to attack hate, cause federal estate was built for a black fate. Her emptiness was filled with beatings and court dates. They fabricated cases, hoping one would stick. And said she robbed places that didn't exist. In the midst of threats on her life and being caged with Aryan whites through dark halls of hate, she carried the light. I wonder what would happen if that would have been me. All of this just so we could be free. Yeah, I often wonder what would happen if that would have been me. All of this just so we could be free. So dig it, people. Listen to my love science. Your power and pride so beautiful. May God bless your soul. Yeah. From North Carolina, her grandmother would bring news that she had a dream. Her dreams always meant what they needed them to mean. What made them real was the action in between. She dreamt that Assata was free in their own house in Queens. The fact that they always came true was the thing. Assata had been convicted of a murder she couldn't have done. Medical evidence shown she couldn't have shot the gun. It's time for her to see the sun from the other side. Time for a daughter to be by her mother's side. Time for this beautiful woman to become soft again. Time for her to breathe and not be told how or when. She untangled the chains and escaped the pain. How she broke out of prison I could never explain. And even to this day, they try to get to her, but she's free with political asylum in Cuba.
You asking me about freedom? Asking me about freedom? I'll be honest with you. I know a whole lot more about what freedom isn't and about what it is. Because I've never been free. I can only share my vision with you of the future about what freedom is. The way I see it, freedom is the right to grow. It's the right to blossom. Freedom is the right to be yourself, to be who you are, to be who you want to be.